I'm Alyssa, and today I'm sharing with you my November 2018 favorites. I know they're a little belated, please forgive me. But if you're new to my channel and don't know what favorites are, that's where I list my favorite movies, TV shows, video games, and books. And that's it, so let's get started. First up, for the single book that I just really thoroughly loved in November is A Clockwork Orange by Anthony Burgess. This is a very controversial novel, and it's a very difficult novel to read, both in the fact that there are controversial topics, but also because there is a lot of Russian slang that is not translated, so you have to figure it out for yourself what they're talking about. But this focuses on a group of young men who love, and I mean love, robbing people, assaulting people, even doing way more horrific things. And the leader of the group, Alex, gets in some trouble and has to go through aversion therapy, and that's all I'm going to talk about. But this is a very disturbing novel, but it's very eye-opening, no pun intended. If you can manage to get through this and read it, you're in for a treat, because it's just so layered and complex, and you hate Alex the whole time while you're reading this, but it's just such a fascinating character study. Now for the plethora of films I loved in November. First up is Christopher Robin. I absolutely adored this film. It explores themes of growing up, of loss, of trying to find yourself, rediscovering who you are, and it's just so moving. And obviously this is based on the Winnie the Pooh story, but it follows a grown-up Christopher Robin played by Ewan McGregor, and he's the perfect choice in my opinion. And I just love this movie. The CGI is fantastic. The acting is great by Ewan McGregor, Hayley Atwell, their young daughter, who I did not look up the name of the actress, and I feel so bad about that. But also the voice actors for Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Eeyore and all them, Brad Garrett, Peter Capaldi, Toby Jones, etc. They're all great, and it's just such a treat of a film. It did make me cry both times that I watched it. And it's just a feel-good movie. It's not too saccharine. I loved Mark Gatiss as the villain of the movie. And it's just a perfect kind of family film, not for younger kids, but older kids, and even adults will appreciate this movie, especially adults, I think. But it's very beautiful, very artistic, and I loved it. Next up is Bohemian Rhapsody. I know this is a very divisive movie, but I thought Rami Malek was perfection as Freddie Mercury, and yes, they did exclude a lot of Freddie Mercury's life. They didn't mention the fact that he's bisexual, really, but it was a very moving look at parts of his life. The musical performances where they included Freddie's natural singing voice were just awe-inspiring, and again, Rami Malek just encapsulated Freddie Mercury so perfectly. And that Live Aid set, the recreation of that set was movie magic. It was so good. I loved it. I'm a huge Queen fan. I was not left disappointed. They could have included more about Freddie, and they could have went a little deeper into some of the aspects of his life, but for what it is, I really liked it. It's one of my favorite movies of the year, and if you're a Queen fan, you have to see this. The next movie I loved was Blind Spotting. This deals with gun violence and friendships, and it's really powerful. It stars Daveed Diggs, who is a veteran of Hamilton the musical, and this movie really combines a lot of different themes that don't seem like they should work, but they do. It combines rapping into the narrative, but it feels very natural. There are very shocking moments that really hit home and really make you gasp and think, and the performances from everyone in the cast are incredible. This is a really hard-hitting film. I know there have been several this year, but this is one that you definitely need to watch. Next up is The Grand Budapest Hotel. I'm a huge Wes Anderson fan, but I just now saw this, and it's just as whimsical and delightful as his other films. The cast is so talented. Ralph Fiennes, Saoirse Ronan, Jason Schwartzman, Jude Law. There are so many celebrities in this film. The color palette is exquisite. The cinematography, as per usual with Anderson's work, is top-notch. And it's just so captivating. It's such a fun ride. And I definitely recommend you watch The Grand Budapest Hotel. The next movie up is The Hate U Give. This is another very powerful movie that came out this year, and I absolutely loved it. I have not read the novel. I do want to read it. But it does deal again with gun violence. It centers on a young teenage girl named Star, whose best friend Khalil is killed by a police officer when he did nothing wrong. And this film deals with the aftermath of his death and what they do to try to protest what happened. It also deals with gang violence and emotional trauma, and it's very powerful. Amanda Stenberg is incredible as Star. I thought KJ Apa did a very good job as her boyfriend. He's totally different from Archie from Riverdale. I thought George Tillman Jr. did a fantastic job directing this movie, and I think it's a really important film to watch. The next movie up is just one that's pure fun and that has crazy rich Asians, and also this is a very important film because this is the first film, I believe, in 25 years, or even longer than that maybe, that has had an almost 100% Asian cast. But it's just a fun Cinderella retelling, basically, about a young woman whose very handsome boyfriend decides to take her to Singapore to meet his family, but she doesn't realize that his family are basically billionaires, and she has to deal with this newfound fact, and the fact that she thought he was, you know, struggling and poor. It's just funny and charming and warm-hearted, and it's got so many amazing moments. It's got some really incredible performances, and I cannot wait for the sequel that has already been greenlit for this because it was such a fun treat of a film. Another really fun film is Ralph Breaks the Internet. This is the sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, and there are some very important messages this movie imparts, but it's also a very visually stunning film. The voice cast, including returning members like John C. Reilly and Sarah Silverman, are great, but also Gal Gadot as Shank is just awesome. I love the fact that there are shout-outs and nods to previous Disney properties, to certain internet companies and sites, and it's just a fun ride. It's a good family film, but I mean, I watched this with my boyfriend and we had a great time, and we're both adults, so it's perfect for pretty much anyone to watch, and it's just a lot of fun. Another really fun movie was The Christmas Chronicles. This has Kurt Russell as Santa Claus, and I never thought I would need Kurt Russell as Santa Claus in my life, but I do now. And it's just a fun ride. It's about these two kids who end up messing up Christmas by jumping into Santa's sleigh, and they have to help him save Christmas. It's great, and you can tell it's pretty much a Kurt Russell family movie because all of his entire family is mentioned or shown in this film. Besides Kate Hudson and Wyatt Russell, they're not in this, everyone else is. But it's fun, and it's one of those Christmas movies you want to add to your yearly rotation. It's on Netflix. It's just something you should watch if you love Christmas movies, and who doesn't? Now, I also really loved the film adaptation of A Clockwork Orange. I do think reading the book ahead of time helped me and really made me appreciate the film more, but it's very artistically stunning. Stanley Kubrick injected it with so much style and flavor. He kept the controversial aspect of the book in the film, so you are going to see a lot of disturbing imagery. You're going to see things that make you uncomfortable, but Malcolm McDowell as Alex DeLarge is a force to be reckoned with in this film. He is just so malicious, and again, you're not supposed to like him at all, but seeing him go through these things and seeing him go through the aversion therapy is just thought-provoking and powerful and disgusting and so many other emotions. And this film just makes you feel so much while you're watching it. Last movie I want to talk about is The Ballad of Buster Scruggs. This is the latest film from the Coen brothers, and again, it's a Netflix exclusive. It's a Western, but it's 6 different short films compiled into one film. There's a couple of the films that don't hit the mark, but the majority do. The cast is superb. James Franco, Zoe Kazan, all the rest are just incredible. The Coen brothers are geniuses at directing films, and you can really feel that Coen style throughout all 6 films that are combined into the one film, so it's very Coen-esque. And if you're looking for a Western, definitely check this out. If you're a Coen brothers fan, check this out. It's full of style, it's funny, it makes you think. There's one particular short film that actually almost made me cry. So I definitely recommend this. It is a little on the weirder side though, so just keep that in mind if you're not into, you know, more experimental type films or more off-kilter films. This might not be for you, but I really enjoyed it. Now for TV, obviously I have to mention season 4 of Outlander. It has been wonderful so far, and I've loved the changes they've made from the books to the TV series. They've resurrected a certain character that was dead in the books. There have been certain events that have had things changed in the TV series, and I just think it's for the better because I love the novels, but I think the TV show is handling things really well and respectfully. And I freaking love this show, guys. It's one of my favorite shows of all time. Katrina Balfe and Sam Heughan, oh, so great. They're my king and queen. This show is phenomenal. If you haven't watched it, watch it. It's just so strong. Every season has been powerful so far, and I love this show with all my heart. I do. I just want to be Jamie Fraser Sassenach. Now for other TV shows, my boyfriend and I both watched both of these shows that I'm going to mention, but the first one is The Cry. The Cry is a 4-episode miniseries starring Jenna Cullman, who you may know from Doctor Who or Victoria, and she is a mother whose young son has disappeared, and she and her husband are trying to find him, but things may not be so simplified. This is a very enthralling mystery thriller drama series. There's twists and turns. I thought I knew what was going to happen. I didn't. It's just really powerful and phenomenal, and if you can find it, watch it, because it's been a little hard to find. It aired on BBC first, and then it came to the United States on Sundance Now, so you may be able to stream it on that, but it's totally worth watching. It's so well written and well acted. It's visually gorgeous. And again, the twists and turns are just so expertly handled. And also another show I really liked a lot was The Little Drummer Girl. This is based on a John le Carré novel and stars Michael Shannon, Alexander Skarsgård, and Florence Pugh. And it's just a very twisty-turny mystery. It follows this group of people who are trying to uncover a conspiracy while also impersonating the people in the conspiracy. It's a little head fudgery going on a lot of the time. That didn't even make sense, but it's really fascinating and the performances are great. Besides the fact that Alexander Skarsgård, who is usually phenomenal in everything, his accent changes a lot, and I don't think it's on purpose. So that's the only negative for me, was his accent kept kind of wavering. But other than that, it's great, and you might not even notice his accent unless you pay attention to what I'm saying, and now I just ruined it for you. I'm sorry. But I like The Little Drummer Girl. It's 6 episodes long, and it was very intriguing. It is a slow burn, but it's worth it. Now lastly, for video games, there were 2 that I played on my Switch that I just loved. The first one was Old Man's Journey. In this, there is no spoken or written dialogue, and there's really no gameplay mechanics besides the fact that you move the landscape around to help this old man walk, and you don't even control him. You just tell him where to move, and he moves there if he can. If he can't, you have to fix the landscape. If you're playing on Switch or your phone or a tablet, you can use your finger to do it. If you play on PC, you have to use the mouse, but I really loved using my finger to move the landscapes, and it's just a very soothing game. It's got such a peaceful soundtrack, but the story is told through photographs that pop up as the old man reminisces about his life, and even though there's no dialogue, they're very powerful to look at, and they elicit a lot of emotion from you as the player, and I found myself nearly crying while playing this. It is only about an hour and a half long, but it's a very powerful experience, and if you like that kind of game, I definitely recommend Old Man's Journey to you, because it will definitely take you on a journey. And I also really loved Icy, which is also available on PS4 and PC. But Icy is this really cool 2D beat-em-up game that kind of messes with your head and your game system. It's kind of reminiscent of Metal Gear Solid in that way, because you'll be playing and all of a sudden a message will pop up on the screen saying it's had an error, and it seems like your game is crashing, but it's really not. Or the narrator will break the fourth wall, and it's just a lot of fun. The combat is very simple to learn, but difficult to master. There are some really awesome boss fights, the soundtrack keeps you going, and the design of the game is just stunning. It's a very short game, about 4 hours long, but it's very much worth your time, and it's very intriguing. You can definitely play this multiple times because I believe there are different endings, or at least 2 different endings So I definitely recommend Icy if you love beat 'em up games, especially beat 'em up games with a twist. So those are my favorites for the month of November. Let me know what you loved in November down below in the comment box. If you liked this video, leave a like. Make sure to share the video if you liked it because that helps my channel grow. If you're new here but you like what you've seen and heard, hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so you'll always be alerted whenever I upload a new video. If you'd like to follow me on social media sites, those are all linked down below in the description box. Thank you so much for watching. Peace and kisses. Bye!